Okay, we are continuing with our NRL career video series, and we're looking at the career of James Graham. Now, we also have to look at his time in the Super League with St Helens, which is the bookends of his NRL career. We also have to look at his representative career. There is a fun fact in here that he lost 6 grand finals and a World Cup final, so 7 finals in a row before winning any silverware with his final appearance for St Helens, where he wins the SuperLeague Grand Final in 2020. So he does get that fairy tale ending. And 2 of his big suspensions are big talking points as well. But let's have a look at his career in detail. He debuts in 2003, so 19 years ago. As a 17-year-old, he debuts for St Helens. He's there until midway through 2011. In all competitions, he plays 224 games, 53 tries, 212 points. So he's that up-and-coming prop. He's young, he's vibrant, he's energetic. He is a machine. That draws the attention of the NRL. And of course, Sam Burgess, Adrian Morley, they've already gone over to the NRL at this point. Now, Adrian Morley would have come back from the NRL, but Sam Burgess is over in the NRL. And James Graham has, caught the attention of the NRL. And he signed midway through the 2011 season for the Canterbury Bulldogs. He's there until 2017. He obviously, famously in the 2014 Grand Final, breaks Sam Burgess's cheek with his head, with the head clash in the very first tackle of the game in the 2014 Grand Final. Whilst he's at Canterbury, he plays 135 times, scores 9 tries for a grand total of 36 points. And of course, the suspensions is what costs him at Canterbury. He would have broken the 150 game barrier for Canterbury had it not been for 2 very lengthy suspensions altogether. In 2018, he signs with St George-Illawarra Dragons. He only plays 52 matches with the Dragons. Partway through the 2020 season, which is disrupted by COVID, the rule changes by the NRL, the 6 again rule, have been brought in. The pace of the game is sped up. James Graham is struggling with the rule changes. He decides to make a mid-season switch to go back to St Helens to finish his career at St Helens in 2020, which he does by winning the Grand Final. So he plays 12 matches in 2020 with St Helens. At St George, he scores a solitary try, and at St Helens, he scores a solitary try. That's 4 points each. So his first grade career is 423 club games, 64 tries, 256 points. His representative career is also pretty lengthy. It starts way back in 2006, so he's only been a first grader for 3 years when he's first called up to the Great Britain squad. In 9 tests, he scores 3 tries for 12 points between 2006 and 2009. In 2008, he's first called up to the England squad. His England career would last a decade, including a World Cup final and a World Cup semi-final. With England, he would play 44 times, score 3 tries for 12 points. And in 2015 and 2016, he played in the NRL All-Stars game twice. And in 2019, he also played with the England Nines for a grand total of 53 representative games. Add that to his 423 first-grade club games. That's 476 senior appearances between 2003 and 2020. That is that's a fantastic body of work by anyone's imagination. And, that's 70 tries. That is a fantastic career for any, prop in rugby league. That is a fantastic career. His longevity is outstanding. Yes, he had some concussions in there. Yes, there were some other injuries in there. But we're going to look at 2 of his key suspensions that cost him a lot of game time when he was a Canterbury player. He would have broken the 150 game barrier, I have no doubt, if it's not for these 2 suspensions. Now, yes, you can argue the concussions and other injuries he suffers. Yes, there are some injuries in there. There's some injuries between his time at St Helens and at St George as well. He doesn't play every single game. But these 2 key suspensions are the ones that really stick out. He was charged by the judiciary several times, but these are the suspensions. In 2011, he's given a 12-match suspension that carries over to the 2012 season for biting Billy Slater's ear in a match between Canterbury and Melbourne Storm. That is a very lengthy suspension. Biting is one of those that rarely happens. When it does, the suspensions can be lengthy. 12 games carried over to the following season. It was definitely a statement by the NRL judiciary there. But he's more well known for the 2015 incident between South Sydney and Canterbury, a rematch of the 2014 Grand Final. Adam Reynolds is the kicker. He's kicking the ball to clear the ball. James Graham charges in for the charge down, catches him below the knee, which is now a big no-no. They've brought in rules to protect the kickers of late contact when they're in the process of kicking. He's obviously gone for a charge down. There is no intent to injure Adam Reynolds. However, he is charged for that. But it's his reaction to the referee, Gerard Sutton, plus the reaction of David Clemmer and Sam Cassiano, that is the most famous moment of that ill-tempered match. Very ill-tempered match. The South Sydney win by a point. The reaction of the three players, and there are a lot of F-bombs being dished out here, is what really is well known from that match. Yes, he's had the 12-match suspension for the bite on Billy Slater, which is now well in the past at this point. In total, he gets 4 matches combined for the late hit on Adam Reynolds, plus the contrary conduct charge for his reaction towards the referee Gerard Sutton. David Clemmer and Sam Cassiano would cop suspensions as well. This is in the 2015 season. This has an impact on the Canterbury season at that time. Early on in the season, 3 key forwards are suspended all at the same time from their pack. That would actually ultimately have an impact on their season. Because of these 2 suspensions that total 16 games, he would have easily passed 150 matches for Canterbury. Then the niggly little injuries, a lot of concussions, and he has been very outspoken on concussion. Very outspoken. And his views on concussion and player protocols that are in place do divide opinion. And his views have changed somewhat. At the time, he's very passionate. I don't believe it shouldn't be taken out of our hands. We should decide if we stay on the field or not, if we're fit to continue. James Graham had a lot of concussions in his career. Because of the newer protocols, had those protocols been in place between 2003 and let's say 2015, 2016, he would have missed a lot more game time than he did. He played on when he shouldn't have. The rules have changed. But James Graham, there are times where you can clearly see his legs have turned jelly. He's had a lot of concussions. And his opinions on suspensions and concussion have divided opinion, although they are softening as time goes on. He's now one of the panellists on the NRL 360. He was coaching with the St George-Illawarra Dragons until this week when he was released from his coaching and mentoring duties with the Dragons. So he clearly wants to be a coach. He clearly wants to still be involved with the sport. He's got his media commitments now as a panellist on NRL 360. So he's transitioned from player to mentor and ambassador and journalist. And some of his opinions, as I say, do divide opinion. Obviously, those 2 lengthy suspensions are the ones that stand out. But the famous one, I think, for me, the one that I remember more, is not the 12-match suspension for the Billy Slater bite. It's the 4-match suspension for the late hit on Adam Reynolds, plus the reaction to the referee Gerard Sutton, the contrary conduct charge. And that's the one that's regularly brought up when it comes to abuse of match officials in the media with James Graham. And that's a tongue-in-cheek one. And he did apologise for his reaction. He also apologised for the bite on Billy Slater. So he did apologise for those incidents. He was a passionate character, very fiery character. And he also has that unfortunate record of losing 6 grand finals and a World Cup final in a row before winning the 2020 SuperLeague Grand Final. But fantastic career. 476 games at international and club level. That's fantastic. That's one of the highest appearance totals you're going to get in the modern era. Absolute machine. Could have played more. Injuries did start to derail him towards the end, plus the suspensions added up. But James Graham, cult hero, quite frankly, in both Super League and NRL. And now he's an opinionated ex-player, is the best way to describe him. But he's enjoying his retirement, and he's now living in Australia permanently. He's relocated and he's very, very happy. And there we go. So thank you very much for watching. Please place your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.